a new all-time high in oil prices. Today, the price of Brent crude reached $116 per barrel amid new threats from Trump to bomb Iran. The White House said everything is under control. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stated with a straight face that the global oil market is well supplied and the number of ships passing through the Hormuz Strait is increasing, so the Strait issue will soon be resolved. But Iran doesn't think so and is in no hurry to unblock the strait, and Iran has at least two reasons for this. First, Iran has stated that it will not withdraw from the Hormuz Strait, and even after the war will charge a fee for ships passing through. And second, it's not profitable for Iran to open the Hormuz Strait at all, since the brilliant strategist Donald Trump, let me remind you, lifted sanctions on Iranian oil, and that's why officially Iran has significantly increased its oil exports during this month of war by closing the Hormuz Strait to other exporters. And Iran intends to keep doing this, effectively pushing competitors from the Persian Gulf out of the market. My name is Pechiy. Let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, give it a like, and leave any comment under this episode. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, if you consider the information here important and necessary, you can do so with any donation, paid subscription, or sponsorship. All links and details are in the description of this video or in the pinned comment below this episode. Also, subscribe to my Telegram channel Pechiy News. The link to it is in the description of this video. So, today after the markets opened, oil prices rose above $116 per barrel. In Iran, Houthi militants fired rockets and drones at Israel over the weekend and promised to continue the attacks. Well, all of Trump's new statements that they are having some kind of negotiations with the Iranians no longer have any effect on the market at all. After all, while Trump is talking about negotiations and some kind of victory in the war, on Saturday, more than 3,500 American military personnel arrived in the Middle East, including about 2,500 Marines. And according to reports from Iranian official media, the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, threatened to set American troops on fire and intensify attacks on America's allies. At that time, the Houthis claimed responsibility for a missile strike on Israel on Saturday, raising concerns about the group's involvement in the fighting. It got to the point where Jim Himes, a member of the U.S. House of Representatives and the top Democrat on the Intelligence Committee, accused Donald Trump of outright lying about negotiations with Iran and said that Trump pushed the Iranians to take more decisive actions. Next is a quote from Jim Himes. The Iranians finally realized that they have control over the situation. Gasoline prices have risen by more than $1 per gallon. They realized, damn it, we have huge leverage here. And if the Houthis now intensify their attacks, if they join their allies in real attacks on shipping or intimidating people to scare tankers away from the Red Sea, this will worsen what is already the most serious oil crisis of modern times. At the same time, economists are saying that Brent crude oil could see a record monthly increase amid the escalation of the Middle East conflict, as a result of the involvement of the Yemeni Houthis. But if you look at the market's reaction to Donald Trump's words in recent days, you'll notice a very interesting fact. You'll see that the market has almost ruled out the prospect of resolving the conflict through negotiations, despite Donald Trump's statements about ongoing direct and indirect talks with Tehran. And the market is preparing for a sharp escalation. This is what's called a bullish signal for oil amid huge uncertainty about the timing and nature of the war's outcome. Moreover, Trump's extension until April 6 of the deadline when the US could resume strikes on Iran's energy infrastructure had no calming effect on the market. The market is now waiting for concrete signs of de-escalation, not just some rhetoric. Once again, these are the words of Donald Trump. Finally, they stopped influencing the market so openly. No one believes him. There's also a crucial point. While Trump is telling tales about how he has already defeated Iran, the Houthis have entered the war. And that means the conflict is no longer centered in the Persian Gulf and around the Strait of Hormuz. And now it has spread to the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, one of the key transit corridors for global shipping of oil and petroleum products. At the same time, the US Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, says, listen, everything is fine. He says the global oil market is well supplied, and the number of ships passing through the Hormuz Strait is increasing, so there's no reason to worry. Here's his quote. Over time, the United States of America will take control of the straits and ensure freedom of navigation, either accompanied by the American fleet or as part of a multinational convoy. But when this will happen, how the oil market will be secured, Bessent for some reason did not say. He decided not to clarify. You know, you can be Captain Obvious by saying that someday the Hormuz Strait problem will be solved. Well, of course it will be. The only question is when. In the meantime, Iran has no incentive whatsoever to open the Hormuz Strait. The fact is, the number of ships passing through the Hormuz Strait daily fell by almost a factor of 23 in March, compared to February before the war. The tankers that still manage to export oil from the Persian Gulf are almost exclusively Iranian or belong to so-called friendly countries. They made up 80% of all the traffic. If you didn't get it, I'll repeat it again. As of today, 80% of the oil tankers passing through the Hormuz Strait are tankers exporting Iranian oil. As a result, in financial terms, Iran has become almost the main beneficiary of this war. While the other Persian Gulf countries can't trade oil, Tehran is selling even more oil than before the war. This month, Iran's average daily oil exports reached almost 2 million barrels of oil. It also helped that the US, those strategic geniuses, eased oil sanctions against Iran, although its crude still mainly goes to China. In addition, as a result of all these events, the discount on Iranian oil has almost disappeared, and Iran could additionally earn about $24 million a day in March. So, during the entire time of the war, Iran has already additionally earned more than $700 million just in this month of the war. And now the most interesting figure. Bloomberg calculated based on data from tankertracker.com and the prices for Iranian light crude that Iran's oil revenues in March amounted to $139 million per day compared to $115 million in February. That is, the war, the blockade of the Hormuz Strait, and the lifting of sanctions by Donald Trump brought Iran almost an additional $25 million per day additional revenue, I emphasize. Now here's the question. Why would Iran make a deal with Trump, open the straits, and so on? What's the point? They're making a lot of money from this war. But that's not the only benefit. Iran has already started charging some tankers, but more importantly, now it controls the Strait of Hormuz much more than before the war, where the territorial waters of Iran and Oman intersect. Moreover, while Trump is boasting about this fake victory, Iran is preparing to pass a law introducing fees which will require any vessel to pay money for passing through the Strait of Hormuz. This will effectively formalize at the legislative level the system that has developed over the past month of war. Tankers are being required through intermediaries to provide cargo lists and make payments for passing through the strait. That passing vessels comply with agreements with Iran after meeting its demands is clear from the fact that they cross the strait along the route approved by Iran near its shore and not from the Omani side. In the end, Trump, as they say, outplayed everyone again and has already, won this war 3 or 4 times. And in fact, let me emphasize again, Iran has no incentive at all to open the Hormuz Strait. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. Subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pechiy. The link is in the description of this video. And if you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so by donating or getting a paid subscription using the links and details in the video description or by scanning the QR code on your screen. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone.